SMT Nation, we back. Nation, huge news of the day was definitely the AT&T network outage that impacted millions of customers. All right, no doubt impacted folks across all the major cities across the country here in the U.S., people in rural America, suburban America, folks that were using AT&T's network for basic communications, right, entertainment, emergency contacts, FirstNet agency, government, you name it. AT&T's got all those types of customers, and their network absolutely failed today. It was a devastating day for their brand, a devastating day for their customers who lacked connectivity for upwards of 8 hours, possibly more, depending on when they were first aware of the outage. Anyways, I want to share some commentary here with you guys today, maybe some possible explanations to what may have happened. No official statement from AT&T yet, but we do have some internal contact on the networking failure ticket that actually went in for the issue, so maybe can offer you some clarity on it, some understanding as to what may have occurred. All right, so you guys will be able to distinguish my commentary from what's being reported internally, and that should get you guys in the know. Anyways, please do like and share this video. Maybe share it to some folks who might want to know what exactly happened with their connection today. All right, so to address the elephant in the room, AT&T obviously had this nationwide type reach outage. Some people on AT&T weren't impacted. Okay, I was literally at school today at work. Half of my students that had AT&T were working, had working data, calling and texting. The other half didn't. So all them customers of AT&T, but mixed results. My lines weren't working. There was a moment where some of them were, but some of them weren't. My FirstNet was the first one that came back on and was running, but my dish line, which runs off of AT&T network sometimes, that one wasn't working for basically the whole time for 8 hours, right? So it was extensive, guys. As of right now, speculation that the origin does hail from Texas. There was something that occurred there within HQ. There was something scheduled. There was a planned update of some sort. If you look at the time of the occurrence, it kind of happening around like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? 3:30 a.m. or something like that. First reports on the down detector. And that's the normal maintenance window. So that was pretty standard. But it appears that there was some sort of a core failure after some sort of a routing modification, a change, an adjustment of some sort. I'm not really sure of the details, but the networking ticket does indicate something along those lines. What AT&T was unable to do was to secure some sort of like a restore to the original settings and configurations pre-update or pre-modification, and that's what caused all the complications to ensue after that, and likely was the reason why they had such an extended time of trying to restore connectivity for so many millions of people. So had they have secured some kind of a backup, a restore, I feel like they probably would have been able to limit the amount of affected customers. The restoration process would have been probably a lot more rapid. It would have been swift and brief, and most customers would have been waking up to a connection. But that was definitely the problem. And let's put this to rest. It looks like the Verizon network never went down at all. It looks like the T-Mobile network never really went down at all. There were reports from Down Detector that was not the case. Down Detector was showing that there was some outages from Verizon and T-Mobile, but both the companies saying nothing happened on their end at all. So maybe those were some misidentified declarations from customers who were impacted, just choosing the wrong carrier when they registered their down notice or whatever. But yeah, massive. Guys, this is really bad. So when I look at the scale and the impact, the biggest issue here wasn't the fact that there was an outage. The issue was there was an outage for an extended period of time that took basically an entire working day to fix. If you have an outage that begins in the maintenance window in the wee hours of the morning and extends through the entire morning and into the afternoon, that is a major issue. Will this create consumer churn? Are customers going to look elsewhere? Are they going to leave AT&T because of this? I'll leave that for you as the customers to decide, but I would assume that some customers might churn from AT&T because of this on the consumer side, right? So consumer lines like something me and you would use. There might be a small amount of churn. Nothing crazy, but it could happen. where would the customers go? They'd probably go to the name that most folks trust for reliability and connectivity, and that's Verizon. Not to say that Verizon doesn't have outages, but typically Verizon doesn't have outages that last this long, right? And that's another thing to consider. No network is infallible. Outages are going to happen. Disconnections will happen, but it's got to be a swift recovery. All right. Restoration of service needs to be very quick. All right. So, I don't know if T-Mobile is going to be the beneficiary of AT&T customers churning. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Now, where things get a little hairy, I think is going to be the business customer. The enterprise customer, I think they're very impacted by this because they just can't compromise their connectivity. And I don't mean to demean the regular consumer. We all have important calls we have to take, family and friends, and being able to reach, but those lines, it's always viewed as VIP. So from 3 a.m. to noon, those businesses, enterprises, don't forget about FirstNet, first responders. You have doctors, nurses, you have firefighters. They're all instructed and pushed onto the FirstNet. And that wasn't working for a lot of folks. So government agencies, there's going to be a huge investigation here. You will see, the FBI get involved, the FCC will, this is all going to be a huge thing. And heads will roll at AT&T. People are going to get fired. Whoever was involved with this, whoever was unable to secure a solution in a timely fashion, they're all going to get fired. Right? And that's going to be something that I'm sure from the top down, from the CEO all the way down to the network engineers, it's going to be a tough time at AT&T because of this. Now, this is going to spark some major, a major chord within kind of like the FirstNet piece of this. Why does AT&T have FirstNet? You're going to hear people say that they should be on Verizon, and all those types of things. And I'm not going to feed, and fuel the fire there. You guys can definitely do that in the comment section if you want. But that's what we know currently. That's what we kind of understand in the situation. How could this have been prevented? Maybe the outage couldn't have been prevented. But I think with the proper steps and the mitigation measures being in place in case something did happen, I think the duration of the outage could have been reduced. And if the proper steps were taken, restoration of services probably would have been a lot quicker, and less people would have been impacted. Being down for 8+ hours is pretty absurd when you are the FirstNet network. And to be honest with you guys, I've spoken glowingly about AT&T's network. It is a very good network in my experience. This is gonna sting for a while, And I remember when T-Mobile had their outage a few years ago, and I remember it lasting a long time. For some folks, it was longer than 24 hours. That's tough, And if I have to evaluate all the networks, as of right now, and Verizon has outages too, but that seems to be the one company that we can say doesn't go down for an extended period of time. Maybe on a site-to-site basis, these companies might have networking issues where a tower might go down for a day or two or something like that. We're talking about national scale in this. That's really the issue. It's the time. What do you guys think about all this? Sound off in the comment section below. Well, the voice of the people, the SMT Nation, let your voice be heard.